Good morning, I'm Randy Anderson with AquaRecycle. This video segment to help you explain your control panel. The control panel itself is your brains of your operation, and it's going to tell you how the system is operating, as well as within the control panel are all the control features. On the cover you'll see an E-stop. If you hit the E-stop in, it kills the entire operation. You heard all the ozone pumps and everything else shut down. To turn it back on, pull the E-stop back out. There's also selector switches on the control panel. You either have 1, 2, or 3. The middle one is always the power on and off. And what this does is actually just kills off the control power. It'll let your ozone system run as normal to keep your tank sterile. So what we recommend is if you're working on a system and you don't know the component you're working on, hit the power off button. It'll let the tanks operate, let the ozone system operate, but then you can walk around and find out what's broken. You've also got, in this case, we have a spare pump for our process pump. If you have a premium unit, you have a supply switch as well that lets you operate to spare. To go to spare, just flip the switch to spare, and the system will operate on your spare pump. But it's important to notice that your spare pump is valved off if it's not in use, and you have to valve it on to the appropriate side in order to use it. But it's simply changing the switch on the front cover and changing the valve position that feed the pump. Also on your control panel cover is your display. In this case, it's our new touchscreen display. And it tells you exactly what's going on in the operation. We've got holding tanks. It'll tell you if the holding tanks are full or empty. We have pumps, and they will flash when they're on, and they won't flash when they're off. And they're labeled. We also have the lens shaker to let you know when the lens shaker's on. You'll also find the backwash operations, where the suspended solids filters are backwashing, the oil and grease filters are backwashing, or the soap organics filters are backwashing. And lastly, if you have a larger unit, you have pH and TDS readings along with temperature readings. So you have a TDS of the recycled water, the pH of the recycled water, and then the current temperature reading of the recycled water you're using. There's also 4 selector buttons on the bottom of the touchscreen. The first is your totalizers. And it's a totalizer of the water flow. In this case, the top line is the total recycled water produced, and the bottom one is the total fresh water used. The combine of the two is the total amount of water actually used by the laundry since the unit was installed. Hit the home button, and you'll go back to your main screen, and then you can go through the savings report, which is an hourly update of water usage. The first column is the recycled water usage, the second column is the fresh water usage, and the last column is the percentage of recycled water in the total amount of water used. Hit the home again, you go back to your setup, and the setup menu lets you change some of the backwash operations. Refer to your operations manual before making changes though. And the last button is the alarm history. It'll give you an update of the alarms that happen within the system. In this case, there are no alarms, so it's clear. Hit the home button, you go back to the main screen. The last feature on your touchscreen is the manual backwashes. All your backwash are automatically timed based on that setup menu information. But if you need to manually backwash a filter, and we would like you to do that once a month, you have 3 types of filters. F1 is your yellow filter, your suspended solids filter. Hit that button 5, 6 times, and it'll kick into a backwash, and you'll see the display on the screen. When that's completed, it'll automatically turn itself off. You can do an F2 backwash, which is your oil and grease filter, and an F3 backwash, which is your soap and organics filter. And again, it's the same operation. Hit that button 5 or 6 times until you see the little indicator on the display change from red to green. And again, they will all turn off by themselves. You just have to initiate them. And what we would like you to do is once a month is to test those manual backwashes just to make sure that the backwash are actually functioning, and you'll hear water or see water in your backwash line flow out. Inside your control panel, top left is your main breaker. Turn it off and you've killed all power to your system. The entire control panel is dead. Next to the main breaker are your single phase breakers. The first 2 are your ozone breakers. So you turn those off and your ozone pumps will turn off along with your ozone bulbs. The third breaker is your UV breaker, and again, all these are all labeled on the wire. L3 is your line feeds to your pressure switch and all your flood switches. And the PLC, it kills the PLC's operation along with your transformer. I'm going to leave the system off so nothing is running for now. And then we go into the actual contactors. Each pump and shaker table is labeled. So in this case, we have the process pump, a spare pump, a shaker table, and the PP is a pit pump. To kill a breaker, just rotate them. And if you need to do locked out, tag out, push the little white tab in, and you can lock out that breaker. Next to the breaker is the amperage draw. This is your overload protection, and it should be set to about just slightly above the maximum amperage of your pump. And this is designed to detect the amperage going through the contactor so that you don't burn up a pump in case it's overloading. And what it will do is if it hits the overload setting, it'll simply trip the breaker on its own. Below your breakers are your contactors. This is what actually controls, energizes your pumps. These are all run automatically. The actual brain of your operation is your PLC itself, and it's the black box. And it's got indicators on the top, which are our Y indicators, which are all our outputs. And then on the bottom is the X indicators, which are all our inputs. Follow the information for what wire leads where, and you can actually see how your system is operating based on the inputs and outputs from the LEDs. Lastly, within your control panel is a small black box, which is your pH and TDS transmitter. And this is where you'll calibrate your pH and TDS probes. Elsewhere in this box, you'll find the phone modem. In this case, we have a phone line that allows for the remote connection. So the phone line feeds into the modem, which then lets us call in and check on the PLC's operation. If you have an internet connection, you have an internet card in the PLC itself with an internet cord plugged into the card. The last device in this box is our e-stop contactor. This is designed to stop all electrical leads from going out if you hit the e-stop button. So if the e-stop button is engaged and your contactor is not pulled in, then chances are your e-stop contactor is broken. And that completes your control panel.